self-awareness seems to be a thing of the past. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the Russian Federation blocking Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp as a response to what they have done as far as their recent policy change. Basically, Facebook says you can't go on the platform and promote violence towards individuals or countries or anything like that. However, they're giving you a little bit of a pass, a little bit of a little carte blanche to do just that because of the whole Russia thing. See, if you go on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and you say something negative about Russia, something threatening about Russia, they'll just bypass all that, all their policy and let you do that for now. Okay. So if I or you say something about the China virus, it's the Wu flu and the sweet and sour sniffles, all this and the third, we get accused of being xenophobic. We're racist. We're hateful. We might get suspended, banned, blocked, shadow banned, or whatever. And before I continue, shout out to Lovely T right here on YouTube. I got this concept from her. I saw she did a video on it. I'm like, you know what? There's a whole lot of hypocrisy here, a whole lot going on, and we got to say something about it. Now, before I get into that, let's start from the beginning. What's been happening with Russia and the secondary war? You see, the first war is between Russia and Ukraine, and really Russia and NATO, but that's a different story. And for now, I digress. There's a physical battle happening with tanks and guns and bullets, but there is a different war, an economic one, and there's also maybe a third war of information that's going on right now. But the economic war is happening, and a lot of U.S. companies are waging it against Russia. Let's take a look at some of the companies that have pretty much boycotted Russia right now. Okay, what we got? So BP and Shell, they're boycotting. They've pulled their business away from Russia. They're not buying Russian oil. Okay, we all know about that. Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they're boycotting Russia. McDonald's, Starbucks, Dove Soap, Olay, Apple, what else? Visa, MasterCard, American Express. So you can't even use your credit card in Russia right now, from what I'm able to see. Look at what it says right here. MasterCard suspended its network services in Russia at the weekend. Russian banks will no longer be supported by the MasterCard network, regardless of whether their cards are used inside or outside the country. So you're not even attacking the Russian Federation. You're attacking the citizens. If you're a Russian person using the card you got in Russia in America at the ATM, it won't even work right there. What's that got to do with the Russian conflict? I'm not even in Russia. Because I'm Russian, you're attacking me. Isn't that called xenophobia? We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so no Visa transactions, no American Express, all of that. There's also no TikTok, no Netflix. That's all being suspended because of the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. Ford, Ferrari, Jaguar, Zara, H&M, Adidas, EY, HSBC, JP Morgan, Disney, Warner Brothers, Netflix, Spotify, Universal, KFC, etc. McDonald's, just closing the restaurants overnight. Okay, just closing it. So no Pizza Hut, no KFC, no nothing. Right? So all of that's going on because Russia and Ukraine are involved in the conflict. Now, has Russia blocked or banned anyone from buying their oil? No, they haven't. And as a matter of fact, Europe is still getting their oil. I think Europe depends on Russia for about 35% of their natural gas. 35%, you can't just bypass that. You got to have it. It gets real cold in Europe. You know, Germany, Norway, etc. Some of the more northern places especially, it gets real cold. You're going to need that natural gas to heat your home up or wherever you live. So they can't necessarily do that. But America, I guess we can. I guess it's okay for us to pay a bunch more money at the pump because we want to try to stick it to Vladimir Putin in Russia. I guess that's okay, just like Stephen Colbert and whatnot said, but I'll move on. The point is that a lot of American companies are literally pulling services away from the Russian Federation. There was a big logjam at the metro in Russia because they were trying to use their Google and Apple Pay on their phone to pay for the toll, and they couldn't get through because it wasn't working anymore. None of their services are working. They're just hurting regular, everyday normie citizens in the Russian Federation or that are from the Russian Federation because of what's happening between Russia and Crimea. Now, Saudi Arabia and Yemen, that's not really a big deal. We'll do whatever they want. We'll get them all kind of money and resources. That's fine. But because there's a political narrative to be spun from Russia and against Russia, then that's what we focused on, nothing else. Now, Russia says, you know what? Okay, since Facebook are allowing all these negative things to be said about us, they're allowing hate speech, they're allowing attacks, or not attacks, but threats of attacks. Since they're allowing that kind of stuff on their platform, how about we suspend Facebook's services from our country? All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take Instagram and WhatsApp as well, because Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are all owned by Facebook. Well, now it's called Meta, but it's the same company. Basically, Mark Zuckerberg owns all of that. So how about we just block all that from the country the same way China does, right? China actually blocks TikTok, even though TikTok is Chinese. Funny enough, they have their own version of TikTok called Douyin, the same as Facebook having their own version of, the same as Russia having their own version of Facebook called VK. Although VK and Facebook are not owned by the same people, Douyin and TikTok are, but that's a different story again, so I'll move on. The whole point is that they decided to ban all of Facebook's properties. And what's the response to that? Oh, this is the wrong way to go. This is online censorship. He shouldn't be doing it. He's trying to keep Russians in the dark, all this, that, and the third. It's like, really? So let me get this straight. You guys, you American companies are able to block whatever you want to block from the Russian citizens, access to the bank accounts, access to the credit cards, access to food and clothing, whatever. You could block all of that, and that's totally fine. But when Russia bans some of your stuff, then it's all of a sudden a problem. And you're talking about censorship, and that's bad. Come on. Facebook especially has some nerve. Facebook is the absolute worst when you're talking about online censorship. At any company in the United States, all the big social media platforms, whether they be, and even if you include Instagram as a separate thing, Facebook is the 100% worst. I mean, I've been shadow banned on Facebook for years. I cannot crack through. I can't get anybody to help. Nobody wants to do anything. And they say, oh, misinformation about the virus. Meanwhile, everything I said about the virus is 100% factual. I was just a little bit ahead of the game. I was early with my facts, but everything I said is factual with sources from doctors and the federal government. What's the problem? I'm not saying the right narrative. I'm not on the page. I'm not on the same page with Dr. Anthony Fauci and the federal government. That's what's going on. So they want to block and ban my page. But then they say when Russia blocks them preemptively, because they could, Facebook could block themselves from Russia at any time because everybody else is. But when they block them, all of a sudden there's censorship and whatnot, which is crazy because there are more platforms aside from Facebook to get news from. Okay. You could get news from their own version of Facebook called VK. You could get news from their state media, from independent media, from the internet. I mean, they're not totally cut off from the internet. I mean, maybe if Google and whatnot didn't suspend services, they'd be able to find more things aside from just state media. You understand what I'm saying? It's the dumbest thing in the world. You want to suspend certain services from them and then say that they are in a bubble and that they're being brainwashed by Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, over here, if you don't say the exact company line about the scamdemic, then you are banned, you're blocked, and your voice can't get out there. I mean, even with what I got going on right now, I got quite a few followers. It's getting suppressed. People are like, hey, man, I was subscribed to you, but then I got unsubscribed. I don't know what happened. You're being shadow banned. On Instagram right now, people hit me up all the time, and then they send me screenshots. They say, hey, man, I tried to tag you, but I couldn't because you're shadow banned. Right? It'll come up saying you can't tag Anthony B. Logan because he spread misinformation about the virus. So I'm not trying to hear word one from quote unquote Meta about online censorship. How dare you? You guys are the chief online censors, and not just Facebook, but the whole big tech cabal here in the USA. The whole cabal, they're all involved with it. But then when Russia says, okay, we're going to block you guys because you're endangering us and you are promoting violence against us, when that happens, all of a sudden they're engaging in state censorship. You can't make it up, but this is what they do. They're gaslighting us, really. And as I close, I want to say this. shout out to everybody out there who is realizing what's going on here. Okay, who realizes it? That they're playing games with us. They tell us whatever they want to tell us, and they do a different thing. They'll say that they're all about free speech and open platforms, and you shouldn't get blocked because of what you say. But then you say something about the China virus, you getting blocked. You say something about something that's a little bit off topic, a little bit, you know, kind of in the gray area, a little bit too into the weeds, and now nobody can see you anymore. You're getting your Instagram deleted for next to no reason. You want to get it back? Nope, ain't nobody there to call, nothing. Nothing's going on. And at the same time, you see them on the news talking about how bad Russia is for blocking their services, the same way you got blocked from the platform. Isn't it ironic? But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about Big Tech's reaction to what Russia has done? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. The hypocrisy is 100% real. They're gaslighting us. And ultimately, it's all about political stuff. It's not even about trying to stop the flow of information. It's not even really about trying to hold Russia accountable. It's a political thing. It's about Vladimir Putin. This is a war from the West against Russia. It's not even about Ukraine. Ukraine is caught in the middle. Okay, Ukraine shouldn't even really be involved, but NATO is making them be involved. The U.S. making them be involved. You giving them money, you giving them arms, talking about, hey, man, you see them people over there in the far eastern region, right on the border of Russia, go ahead and fight them, man. They're separatists. They're terrorists. Go ahead and fight them. Fight them for years and years and years. You're baiting Russia to come in and help because they're right there on the border, and they're basically Russians. They speak Russian. They're basically ethnically Russian. So you baiting them to come over and help. And when they do come over and help, all of a sudden they're the bad guy. I'm not saying who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, but we can't just point the finger in one direction and ignore the other direction. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.